TIL that the rarest insect in the world is the Lord Howe Island stick insect. It was believed to be extinct since 1920 until some were found again in 2001. In 2006 there were only about 50 of them, but only 2 years later their population increased to 700. If I remember correctly, these bugs have only been found in one remote area of the world. I think they're a case example on how some organisms find their niche via natural selection. They're said to populate one section of this remote island and are usually found in bushes. What a badass looking creature, though can't promise anything about what I would do if I found one on me. And now, 12 years later, their population has overrun our planet. Humans have turned to hiding in bunkers to avoid them. They are everywhere. There is no hiding from the Howe Island stick bug. Deleted. This is what Blathers was warning about. Lord Howe. Scientist after rediscovering this bug, probably. Anyone else reminded of Disco Elysium? r/unexpected factorial. That's a lot of tree lobsters. Rarest known asterisk insect in the world. 2,422,040,124,750,272,179,8678,750,938,124 E plus 1689 is a terrifying number of bugs. Kinda hard for them to reproduce when they catch fire every time they rub sticks together. Peso found those. But of course Quasi didn't believe him, but then he bitches that no one believes his stories. Like, Quasi, mate, at least Peso brought back some fucking proof. The Lord Howe Island stick insects do be fucking though us. Great. I'm happy for that thing. Oh great, there's 700 of them. The rarest insect in the world is probably one no one has ever seen. Just sayin'. Full article. Huge tree lobster not extinct after all. After a shipwreck on Lord Howe Island, a rat population invaded and eradicated a species of giant stick insect, or so researchers thought. By Sarah Gibbons. Published October 9, 2017. A large stick insect from a remote Australian island is back from the dead. It's hard to miss a Lord Howe Island stick insect, sometimes called a tree lobster. Their blackish-brown bodies grow to be nearly 6 inches long, and the robust insect has a sturdy abdomen and 6 long legs. For decades it appeared to be extinct, but new DNA research reveals that may not be the case. To understand the insect's complicated and sudden revival, you have to go back to a small island as it was 100 years ago. The massive population decline of these stick insects began with a shipwreck in 1918, on their namesake Lord Howe Island, a small, lush land mass jutting out of the ocean off the east coast of Australia. In addition to its crew, the ship contained a horde of rats that quickly invaded. With no larger mammals to predate on the rats, their population exploded. The stick insect was eventually classified as extinct in 1983, along with 12 other insect species and 5 bird species. Then, in 1960, a group of rock climbers visited another small volcanic rock island nearby, named Ball's Pyramid. It was there that they found what appeared to be the dead remains of the extinct stick creatures. It wasn't until 2001 that researchers returned to Ball's Pyramid. Atop a tea tree, 213 feet above sea level, sat a few living examples of what appeared to be Lord Howe Island stick insects. In the year that followed, several of the insects were collected and placed in a captive breeding program at the Melbourne Zoo. However, for nearly a decade, the identity of the insects was the subject of debate. Visually, the captive-bred stick insects looked different. They had darker brown bodies and their back legs were thinner than museum specimens of the stick insects from Lord Howe Island. It wasn't until genome sequencing was conducted on both the museum specimens and the captive-bred stick insects that scientists realized they had a less than 1% genetic variance, enough to officially classify them as the same species. These findings were recently published in the journal Current Biology. Questions still remain. The subtle physical differences are still a mystery. Researchers think it may have to do with variances in environmental conditions or in an individual insect's age. The study's researchers point to it an example of not only a species success story, but also how advancing technology has helped scientists study older generations of extinct or threatened species. Exactly what constitutes a species has long been the subject of debate. One report from Museums Victoria in Australia listed 26 different concepts for defining what differentiates one species from the next. According to Alexander Mikheyev, the study's lead author, the team deemed it a new species based on whether or not the two organisms could swap genetic material. This debate matters for conservation purposes, particularly on Lord Howe Island, where the Australian government plans to eradicate the invasive rat population and possibly reintroduce the stick insects. For Mikheyev, the findings represent something more existential. In addition to studying evolutionary changes using centuries-old museum specimens, he hopes other species facing extinction are given more potential to survive. We have a second chance, it gives us a sense of hope, he said. While the giant insects from Lord Howe Island may not be extinct, they're still critically endangered. Exactly how many exist in the wild is unknown, because Ball's pyramid is only scalable by rock climbers. Nat Geo has a paywall? I'm kinda surprised and not really surprised. I can't bring myself to eat lobster because of how insect-like they look, and this doesn't help. Never mind that they're even called tree lobsters, lol. I'm really tired and I've been on Reddit too much and I thought this said racist insect. I went there when I was younger. There are a lot of rare species and plants. Amazing mushrooms. Beautiful beaches and no mosquitoes, ticks, or spiders. Also no sharks, which for an island that close to Australia was really nice for snorkeling. There is also a beach filled with wrasse, garfish, silver drummer, spangled emperor and kingfish that eat from your hands. Life finds a way. I just like saying the words balls and pyramid. Tree lobsters, right? There was an Octonauts episode on this that my kid watched over and over. Please protect your local tree lobster. There's a very educational Octonauts episode about them, smiley. From 50 to 700? Blathers will be so upset. Realistically, the rarest insect on the world hasn't been discovered. We don't know what the rarest insect in the world is, cause of how rare it is. I too watch Octonauts with my kids. How can you count the population of something that looks like a small stick and lives in the woods? There could have been thousands of them everywhere when they first counted and they wouldn't have known. These guys do sex. And then some Chinese herbalist guy claims they give you massive erections and they go extinct fully. Orkin has entered the chat. Stick bugs are trying to give rabbits a run for their money. So you're saying that thing that looks like a bunch of hair which moves like a caterpillar, has no eyes or a mouth and likes to stick onto beds and cushions is more common? Fuck me. Oh dang, my mother-in-law lives on that island. r/unexpected factorial. They better be putting this guy on the next Animal Crossing update. Fools. At this rate they will cover the whole Earth in mere decades. I don't know, something tells me that the rarest insect in the world is something we probably haven't found yet due to how rare it is. I had New Guinea giant spiny stick insects a few years ago. Pretty much looks exactly the same. They breed like crazy and are really big, so I had to get loads of big tubs to keep them in, and they were all so mean and pinchy. How does this bug have such a low repopulation rate? I thought insects used to birth a bunch and hope for the best method of reproduction? Serious question. TIL that rats eat insects. That's nice, I hope they keep fucking. TBF, the rarest insect in the world is one we haven't found. Looks like their extinction just wouldn't stick. Glad they came back just in time to die with the rest of the world, sad. Dumb question, but how do scientists determine that there are 50 of a species in existence? King paywalls.